Nathan Carter was in the middle of a video meeting with investors from Chicago when his personal phone began to ring. He didn't usually tolerate interruptions during work, but the ringtone came again. He glanced at the screen, an unknown number. He declined. It rang again. This time, he frowned and answered. "Daddy, Mom fainted because we have no food. She won't wake up. I'm scared. There's no one else here with me." The voice cracked, trembling, tangled in shaky breaths and quiet sobs. A little girl, no older than 6. Nathan straightened in his chair, muting the microphone on his laptop. "Who are you? How did you get this number?" "I'm Lily. My mom is Elena Morales. She told me if something bad happened to call you." That name, Milena Morales, fell into his chest like a stone. He froze, unable to speak. It had been 6 years. 6 years since he'd last heard that name. 6 years since he'd left the small apartment in Brooklyn and never looked back. The girl's voice still echoed through the phone. "You're my dad, right?" Nathan exhaled slowly. In that moment, he knew the life he had spent years keeping under control was about to change forever. Nathan ended the call without another word. The video meeting screen was now blank. The investors had already left, probably after seeing him pale and frozen during the last few minutes. He sighed, rubbed his forehead, and dialed an internal number. "I just got a strange call from a little girl. Her name's Lily. Said her mom is Elena Morales. Find out everything you can about them, fast." He hung up and stood there, staring at his phone. That name, Elena, didn't just bring back memories, it brought back guilt. They had lived together in a small apartment near Prospect Park. They used to talk about the future, maybe even kids. Then came the promotion, the travel, the distance, and silence. "This has to be a prank," he muttered, but deep down he knew it wasn't. That voice, Lily's voice, was too raw to be fake. He left the boardroom and walked quickly down the hallway to his private office. He locked the door behind him. His hands trembled slightly as he redialed the number. The girl answered immediately, still breathless. "Lily, where are you right now?" "At home. Mommy's still asleep. I shook her, but she won't wake up." "Is anyone else there with you?" "No, it's just me." "At home, apartment 305, with the little window that overlooked the leafless trees, the place he once promised to return to, the place he never did." Nathan ended the call and quickly dialed emergency services. 305, 5th Avenue, Brooklyn, woman unconscious, child alone. Then to his assistant, "Get me everything on the girl. Full name, birthday, school, everything." His chest tightened. Lily was 5? He had left exactly 6 years ago. And the father's name didn't appear in any record. Nathan didn't bring a suitcase. He didn't tell anyone. As the black SUV pulled out of Midtown and headed toward Brooklyn, he sat silently in the back seat, eyes fixed on the window. The streets he once knew now wore the dust of time. Everything felt both familiar and foreign. The car stopped in front of an old 3-story building, its brick walls faded, a small window on the upper floor slightly ajar. He recognized it instantly. Apartment 305. He stepped out. Near the entrance, a young paramedic was just walking out. Nathan stopped him. "The little girl, where is she?" "With her mom. She didn't want to leave her. We took them both to the hospital." "And Elena?" "Stable, but weak. Seems like she hasn't eaten properly in days." Nathan lowered his head, swallowing hard. He had once walked away from this place, telling himself he needed time to build a future. 6 years later, the place was the same, only the people inside had begun to fall apart. At the hospital, he stood by Elena's bedside for almost an hour. She hadn't woken. Lily slept curled up in a chair, clutching a worn-out doll. When Elena opened her eyes, her gaze instantly rebuilt the wall between them. "I don't want you here," she said, her voice tired but firm. "I'm not here to argue," Nathan replied. "I came because Lily called. Because—" "Don't call her your daughter," Elena cut in, forcing herself to sit up. "You never cared." I didn't know. I swear, if I had, you'd have come back." Her mouth curled into a bitter smile. "Do you remember how many times I came to your office? The letters, the emails? You disappeared like I never existed." Nathan said nothing. For the first time in years, he didn't know what to say. And for the first time, he began to understand just how much he had missed. The next morning, Nathan returned to the hospital. He waited in the hallway, holding a bag of fruit, milk, and a small teddy bear. He didn't bring flowers. Alina would hate that. The nurse told him Alina was resting, but Lily was awake. He quietly stepped into the room. The little girl sat in a chair beside her mother's bed, nibbling a dry roll and doodling on a piece of paper. "What are you drawing?" he asked softly. Lily looked up at him, studied him for a moment, then lifted the paper. "It's our house. Mommy, me, and that's the sun." "No, Dad." She blinked. "I've never drawn a dad. I don't know what one looks like." Nathan stayed quiet. Then he knelt beside her. "We can draw one together, if you want." Lily stared at him, then slowly nodded. He picked up a crayon, drew a figure standing next to the two girls. Nothing fancy, just a shape. She watched him carefully. "He needs a hat. Like the one you wore yesterday." Nathan smiled, grabbed the red crayon, and added a hat. "How's that?" Lily nodded. "Better." When Elena opened her eyes, she saw them sitting on the floor. Lily was laughing. Nathan said nothing. No grand gestures, no explanations, just there. That afternoon, he came back with a few essentials: groceries, prescription meds, children's books, and a brand new box of crayons. Elena didn't tell him to leave, but she didn't invite him to stay either. "You're not planning to do this once and disappear, are you?" she asked, folding laundry. "No, I'm not here out of guilt. I'm here because I want to do this right." Elena looked at him for a long moment, then turned away. "Then go ahead, try." A few days later, Elena was discharged from the hospital. She refused Nathan's offer for a car ride, carrying only a small bag and holding Lily's hand. In front of the old Brooklyn building, Nathan was already waiting, holding grocery bags. "Feeling better, Lily?" he asked as the girl ran up to her mother. "Yes, I made more drawings." Elena didn't say anything, but she let him follow them up to the third floor. The apartment hadn't changed much since Nathan last stepped in. Same peeling walls, drafty window, and the old fabric-covered chair now even more worn. He placed the bags on the kitchen table. "I brought fresh milk, whole grain bread, the doctor's prescriptions, and a few books for Lily. We managed just fine before you came," Elena said. "Not bitter, just matter of fact." "I know. I just want to help." That evening, Lily sat on the floor drawing. Nathan sat beside her, asking about each line and color. From her seat by the window, Elena watched. She said nothing. But for the first time, her eyes didn't hold suspicion. The next morning, when Nathan knocked, Elena hesitated, then opened the door. "Can I take Lily for a walk?" he asked. "Just for an hour. You could rest." She looked at him. "She's not used to being with anyone else but me." "I'm not just anyone," Nathan replied, softly but certain. Elena sighed. "1 hour. And if she's scared, you bring her back." Nathan nodded. Lily put on her coat and grabbed his hand. As they walked down the stairs, Elena watched from the doorway. Part of her still guarded, but another part wanted to believe this time might be different. Nathan didn't knock down the walls. He simply showed up again and again. With milk, with crayons, with silence. And slowly, the door stayed open longer. Some days he brought milk and bread, other days comic books or a new pack of crayons for Lily. Slowly, she stopped being shy. When he arrived, she ran to the door. When he left, she waved from the window. Elena didn't say much, but she began letting him stay longer. One morning, she said, "If you want to do something actually useful, watch Lily for a bit. I need to get some fabric." Nathan nodded. Of course. That day, he and Lily built a city out of modeling clay on her little table. Crooked houses, strange trees, and a purple monster wearing a hat. Lily laughed nonstop. Nathan felt lighter than he had in years. "Where do you live?" Lily asked, hands squishing green clay. "In Manhattan. But if you want, I can come here more often." "Why didn't you come before?" Nathan hesitated. "Because I didn't know you were born, but now that I do, I don't want to miss anything else." Lily looked down. "Mom says flowers need patience to grow." He smiled. "You're the most beautiful flower I've ever seen." That afternoon, Elena returned to find them both lying on the floor, Lily asleep beside the clay mess. Nathan hadn't moved his hand from her back. He had fallen asleep too. She didn't wake them. She stood there, quietly, not because she was falling in love again, but because, for the first time, she felt safe. That night, for the first time, she said to Nathan, "I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. If you're free, it'd be nice if you came." He didn't ask why. He simply said, "Sure." The doctor's visit happened on a morning with a soft drizzle. Nathan waited with Lily in the lobby, surrounded by the scent of disinfectant and the quiet shuffle of nurses' shoes. The little girl sat in his lap, folding a paper airplane. "You like making planes?" "I like things that can fly away and come back." Nathan wasn't sure what to say. He just smiled and held her closer. When Elena came out, her expression was unreadable. He stood, worried. "Is something wrong?" "The doctor says I'm anemic. I need full rest for a few weeks. No late nights, no overworking." "What about your sewing?" Paused. She said it like someone had taken away a piece of her world. That afternoon, while Lily napped, Nathan placed a cup of tea in front of Elena. "Come stay in Manhattan for a while. You need rest. Lily needs stability. I have space. I can help." Elena stayed quiet for a long time. Then she asked, "And what if I say yes? What happens when I'm better? You disappear again?" "No," Nathan shook his head. "This time is different. If you want to leave, you can. But if you stay, maybe we can start again, from the beginning. No rush, no promises, just honesty." She didn't answer right away. She turned toward the window, watching the thin curtain of rain, then nodded gently. "Okay, but one condition." "Name it." "This won't be your home. If we move, it's for recovery. You don't make decisions for me. No one does." Nathan nodded. "I understand." The Manhattan apartment was more spacious, brighter, and quieter than Elena expected. Lily ran from room to room, touching everything, exclaiming, "This chair is weird. The TV's huge." Elena stood quietly, her fabric bag still slung across her shoulder. Nathan pointed to 2 empty bedrooms. "You two can pick whichever you like. I had the mattresses changed and put on fresh sheets." "We're not here to stay forever," Elena reminded him. "We came because I need to recover." "I know." The days that followed passed like a peaceful experiment. Nathan woke early to cook breakfast, walked Lily to a nearby preschool, worked from home in the afternoons, and read bedtime stories at night. No one talked about the future, but no one rushed to leave either. One evening, after Lily had fallen asleep, Elena walked into the kitchen and found Nathan at the table, his laptop open with several preschool websites pulled up. "What are you doing?" "Looking at schools for her. Some of these have strong art programs." "You don't have to do that." "I know, but I want to." Elena leaned against the counter, quiet. Then she said, "I got a message from my old job. They said they'd take me back if I returned." Nathan paused, then nodded. "Are you thinking about it?" Elena looked around the unfamiliar, yet oddly warm kitchen. "I'm not sure, but I do know this. This time, I'm not afraid to stay." Nathan smiled. "I won't promise anything, but I'll be here if you need me." For the first time, Elena didn't turn away. She nodded slowly. No fireworks, just a quiet beginning, soft enough to believe in. That night, almost a year after Nathan returned, Elena stood quietly on the balcony. The October wind brushed gently through her loose hair, swept across her quiet face. Inside, Lily was already asleep. The apartment was still. But inside her, 1,000 thoughts buzzed, an unspoken weight only silence could carry. Nathan stepped out, holding 2 glasses of wine. Without a word, he handed her one. She accepted it. "Almost a year," she said softly, eyes still fixed on the city lights. "Just 1 year, but it feels like we lived a whole new life." "I know," Nathan answered, his voice low. "And you lived too many years in silence." Elena didn't reply immediately. Then she whispered, more to herself than to him. "There were nights Lily cried herself to sleep asking if her dad forgot her. I used to make up stories. He's a secret agent. He's building something big. But deep down, I had nothing. Not even your silence. Just emptiness." "I did," Nathan whispered. "But I don't deserve forgiveness for being gone." She turned, finally looking him in the eyes. Fully, without flinching. "You know what hurt the most, Nathan? Not that you left, but that I believed you'd come back. I used to sit at the door holding Lily, waiting for something that never came." Nathan set his glass down, stepped closer, his voice steady, full. "Elena, if there's even a sliver of trust left in me, let me spend the rest of my life protecting it." He placed his hand over his heart. "I'm not asking for a clean slate. I'm asking for a second chance, to stay, to stand beside you, to hold our daughter's hand on the days you can't, and to never let her wonder again if she's forgotten." Elena closed her eyes. 1 second, 2, then nodded, barely, but enough. And to Nathan, it was everything. 1 year later, a small house in upstate New York, wrapped in lavender and soft summer air. Elena tended to her garden, dirt on her hands but light in her eyes. Lily ran in circles, chasing a paper kite and laughing loudly. Nathan sat on the porch, laptop open, but his eyes always on the 2 people who mattered most. At sunset, Elena sat on the steps, wiping her hands on her apron, admiring the blooms. Nathan walked over, hiding a small blue box behind his back. He knelt beside her. "Not a day goes by that I don't know how lucky I am. Not a morning I wake without thanking you for not turning away." Elena froze. From the yard, Lily shouted, "Mom, he's proposing! He's really proposing!" Elena laughed, but her breath caught. Tears slipped freely down her cheeks, not from surprise, but from release. For all the nights she waited, all the words she never heard, this quiet promise was enough. She nodded, not because it was perfect, but because it was finally safe. Nathan slipped the ring onto her finger. Lily ran over, throwing her arms around them both. They weren't perfect. They didn't need to be. They were a family, woven from second chances, and stitched together by love they chose each day.